probably a slightly inappropriate movie, which is Billy Madison and Adam Sandler singing a little ditty, back to school, yeah, back to sunset. See, somebody knows what I'm talking about. Let me get in here real quick. I am adjusting to technology, which is, it's a little weird. I don't really like it. Not a big fan. But anyways, there's a couple things that we need to do right off the bat here, okay? A couple things. Now the first thing is we're going to take part in an ancient and somewhat often practiced ritual, okay? So what I need you to do is I need you to stand up where you're at. Students only. This is only for the students. Okay, you stand up where you're at. Yeah, go ahead, stand up, okay? Now I need you to turn and face a leader, a volunteer. Okay, you see these volunteers? Face a volunteer, okay? You see the volunteers? Wave at the volunteers, okay? Now what I want you to do, just turn your head back, stay facing them, okay? I want you to take your arms out really wide like this, as far back as you can go, okay? Without hitting the volunteers, I want you to slowly bring them together, okay? Got it? Okay, now I want you to bring them back out, bring them back together. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to get a little faster here. Okay, you're going to make a little noise with those. Okay, go ahead and just work up to the in a crescendo right in here. Okay, yeah, a little round of applause, okay? All right, good job. Hey, you guys didn't see what I was doing there. Dude, I cannot tell you how awesome each one of these people are. Okay, I can't even begin to explain it. People keep coming to me and they're like, Tanner, dude, we need to find a new youth minister. Parents keep coming to me. Staff's always talking about like, man, where are we going to get a youth minister? And I was talking to a parent. I think it was this last week. I have no idea who it is because I'm terrible with names. And they were like, man, they were talking about, what do you think the timetable is for finding a new youth pastor? And I was like, we could find a new one, but we already have 7. There are 7, is that right? Is that the right number? There are 7 adults that come on Sunday nights. They give up their Sunday nights for like 3 hours just to come hang out with you guys. And there are 7 of these people who are completely dedicated to making sure that you have an awesome time, that you get fed, and that you get to know Jesus better. And if that's not cool, I don't know what is. Okay, so dude, at some point tonight, walk up to one of them and say thank you, because they're awesome. All right. Now the second thing I need you to do, this is also important. Okay, I need you to stand back up. Okay, go ahead and stand back up. I like volunteer activity. Okay, and now what I need you to do is I need you to, if you're anywhere other than in the first 3 rows, and there's an empty seat, I need you to move into those first 3 rows. Find one of those first 3 rows right here. Yeah. Fill the seats up. Okay. Don't sit on the guitar. There's a guitar somewhere. Find a seat in the first 3. Kevin, don't move up. Move forward. That's the 4th. Come on. Find a seat. Kevin, keep coming. Come on. You can do it. Come on, Kevin. Come here, boy. Come on. Come on. You're doing something. Good boy. Okay, sit down. Great job. Okay, everybody have a seat. Awesome. I got this thing where I don't like it when people are spread out because we're all like, ooh, we're too cool to sit next to anybody else. And I'm not a big fan of it, okay? So that's just my opinion. You guys can deal with it for one night. If you hate me for it, I'm gone after this. I really don't care. All right, now what's going on is, what I want to ask you guys is, have you ever had one of those moments where you had no idea what was going on? Okay, you had no idea what you were doing, okay? Like maybe the first time you got your permit, okay, I'm recently experiencing that with my younger siblings. They just turned 15, they just got their permits, they're learning a lot, okay, and I gotta tell you this, if you've never been older than someone who has a permit, suddenly the person who does not have the permit, the older person who has their license, does not know how to drive. It's this magical occurrence where they get their permit and suddenly the person with their license doesn't know how to drive. And like, I'll be driving and be like, there's a left turn ahead. Yeah, saw that back there. Okay, yeah, there's a U-turn. No U-turn sign. I wasn't intending to do a U-turn. So that's what happens. But anyway, you get your permit and you're, driving along. You don't really know what you're doing yet. Okay. Maybe it's like when you forgot to study for an algebra test. You go in and those equations look like ramen noodles more than like math problems, right? You know what I'm talking about? Ramen noodles are good. That is the holy grail of college food. Okay, you will learn that. All right, maybe you're like Kevin out here when he's trying to guard me on the basketball court. He's got no idea what he's doing. He's getting crossed up and dunked on. You know, maybe that's what. You ever have one of those kind of moments? I had one of those a while back. Okay, I had one of those a while back. It was in 8th grade. We'd recently built this house out in the country. Okay, and this house had a big flat backyard. It was like an acre and a quarter, something like that. Nice big backyard. And our neighbors behind us had a couple acres. They had trails through their land, and they would let us use those. And it was at this time that my parents made one of my most favorite investments of all time. They bought us a go-kart. And I'm not talking a run-of-the-mill go-kart like your little go-karts that go around the track at 10 miles. I'm talking a go-kart. It gooed. Okay, it was fast. We're talking dirt wheels, roll cage, 2-seater, dangerous. Other words, awesome. Okay, dangerous and awesome are synonymous words. You're going to learn that as you get older. Okay, so we got this go-kart, and my favorite game we played with the go-kart, we played a huge race, we do a lot of different stuff. My favorite game was go-kart dodgeball. All right, what would happen was we'd take these balls out of our backyard, you know, sometimes a football, soccer ball, you know, maybe we'd mix it a tennis ball, baseball occasionally, golf ball, you know, anything you could weave in between the roll cage and try to hit a sibling who was driving and force them to crash. That was how this game worked. My parents loved it. They were huge fans. Okay, it was actually their idea. No, I'm kidding. That wasn't actually their idea. But, you know, it was after we'd had this golf cart for a while that it started to slow down. And when it started to slow down, it wasn't as much fun anymore. And so what I did, being the genius I was in 8th grade, you know, I was a mechanical genius. I wasn't, but I was. And so what I did was I started to look up online. I was like, man, how can I figure out how to fix this go-kart? And so I was looking online. I found this word, governor. I don't know if any of you know what a governor is on an engine, but basically this is what I came to understand. A governor controlled how much of the power from the engine went into how fast you went. I'm not really sure how good a definition it is, but for our sake, that's what it means. Okay, so I found this thing called a governor, and I figured, you know, if I turn the governor up, maybe the go-kart would go faster. And so before I go any farther, I need a volunteer. Can I have a volunteer? Kevin, come here, Kevin. Come here, Kevin. You're going to play the role of my mother, who's actually here. And I give a big hand for my mom. Hey, come on. Okay, so what's going on here is I'm trying to fix this go-kart, and my mom, being the person that she is, has to supervise. Okay, and so we're out. Come over here. We're going to come over here where everybody can see. And what's happening? Here's the go-kart. Okay, so I'm kind of like down here. Kevin, I want you to pretend to be my mom. What you want to do is you want to supervise and you want to critique. And you want to basically make sure I don't get hurt. Okay, so I'm down here looking at the engine. You know, I have no idea what I'm doing.
Don't burn yourself in the video.
Don't burn myself. Mom, stop. I'm trying to fix this. Okay, yeah, and that's about what would happen. Okay, and so what I found out was there are 7 little holes by the engine. And there's this little wire with a coil and a hook, and it was hooked in hole number 2. It was in number 2. Dos is 2 in Spanish. It's hooked in hole number 2. And so I figured out, being the technical genius I was, if I moved it up, the go-kart would go faster. Makes sense. Okay, so what I did is I moved it up, and being rational, I, of course, went to 3. But I wasn't rational, I tried to go to 7. And what happened is this little hook broke. And so what I did is I took this wire, and I curled it so that the wire got shorter, but there was a hook again. And so I stretched it out as far as I could without breaking it and hooked it on hole number 7. And it was at this point that I got up, and my mom's still supervising. Thank you. It was at this point that we primed the go-kart up. I got the ripcord, the starter cord, whatever you want to call it, and pulled it. And, you know, normally when I would start the go-kart, it would sound like, you know, a nice riding lawnmower. Okay, this is what happened. I pulled the cord. It didn't sound like a riding lawnmower. It sounded like a souped-up Harley from hell. Okay? And out of instinct, we're watching the go-kart, we're like, this doesn't sound right. The go-kart starts to move. Now, I want to go over something with you here again. I'm here, my mom's here, the go-kart's here, and I'm here, and my mom's here, and the go-kart's here. And that means there's nobody in the driver's seat. Catch where I'm going with this? Because we weren't in the seats. Now, I don't know about you, when a vehicle starts to move without somebody in it, you do something crazy. And so my mom, almost at the same time as I did, we both grabbed onto this bar on the back of the go-kart. Go ahead and grab on, Mom. Okay, so we're holding on to this go-kart. Your turn. The go-kart is going this way. You need to turn this way. Come on. Okay, so we're here, and the go-kart starts to pull, and suddenly the engine catches a little more torque. And the front two wheels, I kid you not, the front two wheels of this go-kart came off the ground. And so we're holding on. Yeah, go ahead and do a little squat, trying to hold on to this. It was at this moment that I looked at my mom. It was at this moment, I don't know if she remembers this. I looked at my mom. There was an instinctive son-mother moment of brain telepathy. All right? And I knew in my head that she wanted me to let go, and she was going to let go at the same time because we couldn't hold on any longer. So I looked, and there was brain telepathy going on. I knew it was time to let go, and I let go. And as I let go, my mom did not.
Okay.
And I kid you not, my mom got drugged halfway across our driveway before this go-kart crashed into a trailer just long enough for me to go hit the kill switch. Props to my mom, she's a tough lady. She had 5 kids. Drugged across the driveway is not... you aren't my mom, please go sit down. You did a good job. Thank you, Kevin. Everybody give Kevin a hand. Kevin, I got a treat for you afterwards, okay? And so it's moments like those where you feel like you have no idea what's going on. You just don't get it. And sometimes that's how it is with the Bible. You don't know what you're doing. You don't get what you're reading. You read it and you see it and you think you know what a governor is, but you don't. And so what I'd like to do is tonight I would like you to do me a favor, all right? We're going to read a few verses out of Isaiah. I want you to listen to this because if you don't hear what I'm going to say, if you don't know about the governor on your go-kart, then, your go-kart, which in essence is your life, might drag your mom across the driveway and hit a trailer. And you don't want to do that. Okay? So pay attention and learn something. So we're going to read out of Isaiah chapter 6. I know some of you guys have apps on your phone, like Bible apps. Okay? So if you want to get those out, you can. But it's going to be up on the screens. You can read along. So here's what it says. Verse 1. In the year that King Uzziah died, I'm going to stop right there. You guys are thinking, man, this is going to take forever. It's not, I promise. Only 3 hours. I'm just kidding. Okay, so right off the bat, we're hitting something important. Okay, Isaiah lets us know when this is written. Okay, it's written in the year that King Uzziah died. But you guys don't care about dates. You've proven that from your grades in history class. Okay, you don't care about dates, so I'm not going to tell you any dates. All right. So what happens is we need to know who King Uzziah is, and we need to know who's writing. Who do you think is writing if the book's called Isaiah? Thank you. Good job. So Isaiah's writing, he's writing about King Uzziah. So here's what we know about Isaiah, okay? Isaiah is God's guy, okay? He's a prophet. And at this point in time, I have a free blizzard for somebody who can tell me what a prophet is.
Isn't it a person who prophesies of the Bible or scriptures and stuff?
Dude, that is close enough. Basically, here's what a prophet is, okay? A prophet is God's mouthpiece, okay, to the people of Israel. That's what a prophet is. Okay, and so he's God's mouthpiece to the people of Israel, but he's also the advisor to the king, King Uzziah. And so here's what we know about King Uzziah. He's a bad dude. Okay? Under his reign, the kingdom of Israel and its people have turned away from God. Okay? Now, obviously, this kind of conflicts with Isaiah, who is the king's advisor, who's also God's mouthpiece. So you got the king over here, you got God over here. You got Isaiah in the middle, and he's trying to shepherd the people and the king towards God.
and the king is taking the people away from God. So it's kind of a conflict, right? Now, you're going to imagine this puts Isaiah in a tough position here. Because he's also, he's the advisor to the king. Now, this is at a point where I would like to illustrate with a highly likely opportunity to, something that's going to happen to most of you guys out there. Okay, you're going to be in a very similar situation to Isaiah. At some point in your life, a woman in your life, whether it's your girlfriend or your wife or your mom, is going to turn to you and they're going to ask you, do I look fat in these pants? Now, this is a very crucial conversation. This is a very crucial conversation. This is a very big moment, just like Isaiah is having here, okay? You're stuck in this situation like Isaiah where you want to tell the truth, but you also don't want to get your head chopped off. Right? I'm just kidding. Okay? No, you never tell the truth. Your head is important. That's where your brain is. You hang on to that. Okay? Keep your brain. Lying is not good for you. Good choice. But you're also not going to have your head. All right, so back to the passage, right? So I saw the Lord high and exalted, seated on a throne, and the train of his robe filled the temple. Above him were seraphim, each with 6 wings. With 2 wings they covered their faces. With 2 wings they covered their feet. And with 2 they were flying. And they were calling to one another, Holy, holy, holy is the Lord God Almighty. The whole earth is full of his glory. At the sound of their voices, the doorposts and thresholds shook, and the temple was filled with smoke. All right, now that's a lot of info. Stick with me here, okay? I want you to imagine you're seeing this for yourself. And you got a lot of stuff going on. You got angels and robes and a temple, and angels and robes and a temple of mine. Okay, so let's break it down. Seraphims. We got seraphims. So this is a fancy word for angels. Good job. You don't have to call me that. It's okay. I know it's my last week. And so they've got 6 wings, and you're thinking, what the hey, who is a seraphim? It's an angel, okay? And with these 6 wings, they're like covering up their faces and their feet, and that's kind of confusing, okay? But what that is it turns out it's a sign of respect. They recognize that they're in God's presence. And, God is so holy that they can't even look upon his face. They can't even be in his presence without covering themselves. It's kind of like when you come out of the bathroom, okay, you're in a towel, all right? And you walk out of the bathroom. If you're anything like me, you walk out in a towel all the time. It's cool, you're family. But then you walk out and there's a visitor. You pull one of these. Okay, this is what the angels are doing. They're pulling one of these with the towel, but with their wings. All right? It's a sign of respect. We keep going. So these angels, they're calling out, they're praising God, and all of a sudden the doorposts and the thresholds, all right, are shaking, and the temple is filled with smoke. And guys, we're talking about a temple. So the doorposts are a little different. Okay, the temple is about half the size of a football field. And so these doorposts, these are more like pillars. Okay, so like this thing back here, that's a little closer to what a doorpost is like in a temple. Now that thing starts shaking. And the room starts getting filled with smoke. I don't know what you're doing. I'm running. I'm getting out of there, okay? This is a full-blown earthquake. And all this stuff's going on. All this is going on. And it's almost enough to make you forget about Isaiah. You got this whole holy God encounter. And we almost forget about little Isaiah the prophet. So we go back to the story. We see that in this moment, in this ultimate bearing of God's holiness and God's power, Isaiah, he can't take it. He can't stand it. And so verse 5 reads, I think we have verse 5. We can put that up there. Woe to me, I cried. I am ruined, for I am a man of unclean lips. And my eyes have seen the King, the Lord Almighty. Woe to me. Now this isn't woe, this is cool. This isn't W-H-O-A. This is woe as in W-O-E, as in woe as in despair and destruction. This is woe as in I'm in trouble. This is woe as in Mom caught me with my hand in the cookie jar and I know I'm about to get whooped. Whoa. That kind of woe. Whoa. Now that was woe as in W-O-A-H. Now it's because Isaiah realizes how holy God is. It's because he says woe in all, W-O-A-H. that he realizes he needs to say, woe, as in I'm in trouble. W-O-B. It's because Isaiah finally gets to see what's actually going on. It's because he finally gets to look at God. And in that moment, he gets a look in the mirror. You ever looked in the mirror before? Now, maybe it's hard for you to understand what I'm getting at. So for a moment, I want you to put Isaiah and the throne room and the angels and the robe and the temple. I want you to take that right here. Okay, we got it right here in our hands. Get it in your hands. Get it in your hands. Get it in your hands. Okay, you got it. Now take it, put it in the back of your head. Keep that there. Okay, we're going to think about that again in a minute, okay? But what I want you to do right now is I want you to picture in your mind your favorite buffet. You think of something already? Okay? Your favorite buffet, not your favorite restaurant, and there is a difference. Restaurants are designed to satisfy your hunger, and buffets are designed to make you happy. Can I get an amen?
Amen.
Thank you. If you're anything like me, you're ready to fight me right now. Because who in their right mind would ask you to make such a difficult life decision as to choose what your favorite buffet is? That's a hard question. How could you possibly decide? Well, it's easy. You know, you pick the one that makes you the happiest. Now, I need you to imagine you're heading into this buffet, but I need you to remember that this buffet is only the first stop of your day. After this buffet, you have a wedding to go to. Okay? And this wedding is one of your close friends. And you're on the way to this wedding. When you stop at this buffet, because let's be honest, weddings are a little boring. They're a little long, and they make me hungry. So we're going to a buffet. So you're in your wedding attire. You head to this buffet, and you've got some sort of extreme Superman complex that I don't have, because for some reason you think you can get through an entire meal at a buffet without spilling a single thing on your wedding attire. I say congratulations. You're a braver man than I am. But I almost forgot to mention, give me 1 second here. I almost forgot to mention that, we can go ahead and wheel this little thingy out here. Your buffet that you're going to is a little dirty, and it turns out your wedding top, for girls, I don't know why you call a shirt a top. Your wedding shirt, guys, is white. All right? You see where this is going? Now, if you're anything like me, a little bit of a messy eater, buffet with a white shirt's not a good idea. But you're not really thinking about that. You're thinking about the food. So on your way in, you realize you forgot to get breakfast. You get a little excited. I get excited when I go into a buffet and I forgot breakfast. You pay, you walk in, you sit down, you order your drink. The waiter tells you, you can go up, help yourself, and you're on your way to the first buffet line. You're probably a classic like me, you're an American, so you head over to the one place that makes you happier than any others. The grilled meat section. Yeah, we got some applause. Good job. Thank you. Give it up for grilled meat. Okay? And you walk in there and you maybe I'm feeling a little classical, so I'm going to grab myself 2 buns. I'm going to throw a hamburger on there. All right, fill the rest half my plate with steak fries. Okay, you're getting a little hungry. It's okay. We're going to have pizza in a minute. I'm filling half my plate with steak fries. I'm heading back to my table. And I'm sitting myself down. I'll take a little drink, whatever I got. I'm a sweet tea kind of guy myself. Yeah? And I'm going to dig in. Yeah. But only after I have slathered that burger in ketchup. Okay, and so I'm about halfway through this burger. And this burger is everything you've ever imagined in food. I mean, those 2 buns hold on to that hamburger like this hamburger holds on to your heart. I'm halfway through that burger, and it is setting off every sensory on my taste buds when disaster strikes. Disaster strikes. I'm digging in, and a little bit of that ketchup goes right in there. Right on that white shirt. But again, if you're anything like me, you only panic for a moment, because it's just a small amount, you can wipe it off, okay? So you go into action, you grab a napkin, and you maybe wipe it off. You try to wipe it off a little bit, and it ends up looking something like that. You know, that's just how our sin is. You head up to the buffet, you tell just one little lie. I'm just going to hang out with some friends tonight. Just a little smudge. But you know, no biggie, it's okay. It's not your wedding. It's not that big a deal. Nobody's really going to be looking at you, so you head back to the buffet, right? You're still hungry, okay? You head over to the exotic foods, okay? We got any Chinese fans out there? Yeah, we got some Chinese fans, okay, yeah. And you go into that Chinese food, and man, you pile up a plate with sweet and sour chicken. Yeah, And so you back to your plate, and you're really digging in at this point, man. I mean, you're hungry. You got to satisfy that hunger in your stomach. Man, so you're digging in, and it's in a little moment where you suddenly realize, uh-oh, I've splattered my shirt again. That sweet and sour chicken was a little messier. Like, dude, man, this stinks. Sometimes that's how our sin is. Hey, man, it's just one R-rated movie. You know. There's a lot of cursing in it, you know. There's a lot of cuss words. There's that one really bad scene. But dude, it's really funny. It's so funny. Everybody goes to see it. It's so good, man. It's okay. Everybody's cool with it. So if you're anything like me, you head back up to the buffet because you're still hungry. So this time you're really feeling it. And if you're a true American, you can't get away from a buffet without digging into a plate of what? Barbecue ribs. Oh, getting hungry yet?
Yeah. They're all fine.
And so you dig into these delicious barbecue ribs. They're slathered with some Texas barbecue sauce. You have no regard for whatever mess you're making. You think to yourself, I'm already a little messy anyways. A few more spots show up on that shirt. Sometimes that's just how life is. And guys, we start to dabble a little bit of pornography. For too long, you know, you're hooking up with your girlfriend. She's only 16. It's all good. You got protection, right? You good? Yeah. You know what you're doing. And this is just what happens nowadays, you know? You're going to get married someday. You're in love, so it's okay. Those ribs taste so good. Man. So you head back to that buffet again and again. You can laugh all you want to. But you're going to keep going back. Because you can't satisfy that appetite. You get plate after plate, stain after stain on that shirt. You forget all about that wedding because the only thing that matters is filling your stomach. And then it's time to go. So you're heading off to this wedding, you're thinking, man, what was I thinking? What was I doing? You get to the door, you get stopped by the greeter. The greeter says, man, you're not trying to come in like that, are you? You can't come in like that. So you start protesting, dude, it doesn't look that bad, I promise. I know the people, you know, I know them, we're friends. It's not even my wedding, nobody's going to be looking at me. It's then that this doorman drags you over to the window in front of the church and he says, look at yourself. And it's then that you see yourself for the first time since that buffet. You see the stains all over your shirt. The sauce around the edge of your lips. Drops on your pants. You look at yourself and you realize you can't go into that wedding. You can't go in looking like that. just how this story with Isaiah is. He gets to the wedding, and it's only when he sees how perfect God is that he truly realizes what a mess he is. It's only in the reflection of God's holiness that we can see our sinful selves. It's only when you realize just how truly great God is that you realize how much trouble you're in. Just how incapable you are of getting into the wedding. And all that food, that hamburger, that Chinese, those ribs that tasted so good just an hour before, start to give you a stomachache. Because you realize it wasn't worth it. Guys, we can't even look on God's face. We can't even see Him. That's how perfect He is. And if you're trying to get through life, without help, and God is at the end of it, and you think you're just going to sneak into the wedding, you're dead wrong. There is a guest list. You know what that means? You've got to be on the guest list. And it doesn't matter what you're wearing if you're not. It's not how the story is. We go back to Isaiah. We read verse 6. Then one of the seraphim flew to me with a live coal in his hand, which he had taken with tongs from the altar. With it he touched my mouth and said, "See, this has touched your lips. Your guilt is taken away and your sin atoned for." Guys, you're back at that door to the wedding. That's when the groom walks out. He walks out, he looks at the doorman, he looks at you. He looks that doorman dead in the eye. He says, "I know them. I know him. I know her." The doorman starts to protest. He says, they're too dirty. They'll ruin the pictures. They might even get the other guests dirty. And the groom, he slowly unbuttons his tux. He takes off the tie he's been waiting to wear his whole life. He unbuttons his dress shirt. And he gives it to you. He says, "He can wear mine." He turns to you and he says, "Let me take yours." That's just what God did for Isaiah. And he burnt those unclean lips until they were clean again. It's just what Jesus does for us. He takes his wedding shirt off, man. He takes your ratty, old, buffet and soiled shirt, puts it on his back. If you're like me, you're thinking, "Man, I wish this story would be over because that'd be perfect. We could go eat pizza." Yeah. But it's not. The seraphim has purified Isaiah's lips with this coal, and now comes the most important part of the story for you guys tonight. The text says, "Then I heard the voice of the Lord saying, 'Whom shall I send, and who will go for us?' And I said, 'Here am I, send me.'" Guys, Isaiah had looked at God. What he'd seen in the mirror. He'd seen himself, and he recognized God's holiness. He recognized his unworthiness in God.